surprise, man. Today we're back again, another video. This is going to be, it's a late video, but a video nonetheless. A late video that I forgot to record, and that was going to be on the, how last week, as we're on Monday now, so that's how you know it's late, how Smackdown went last week. Last week, Smackdown was the Smackdown after WrestleMania. Like I said, I didn't get a chance to record it until now, and I was like, I really want to talk about this, because I did the one for Raw after WrestleMania. So here we go. So yeah, the show, I'm not even going to go past the show because y'all already seen it, but I was going to just get my comments on it. So Cena and Randy had a back and forth promo, and that was the thing we was looking forward to, what I'm saying, when he got RKO'd on Monday last week. Funny enough, literally a week before today, last Monday, got RKO'd by Randy Orton out of nowhere, and then Randy was telling John Cena that he needs to have some goddamn kids, what I'm saying? Maybe you would be back to your normal self, you would be happy again, because, kids basically, if you have one, it really changed your life and stuff like that, because it's done the same for Randy Orton. But John Cena said the reason why I haven't had kids is because I've been doing a better job than basically the parents out there in the crowd. I've been, for the last 25 years, I've been raising yours, as in talking about the WWE fans who either their kid is a fan or they're a fan of it as well, and they take their kid with them, whatever the case may be. I've been too busy raising your kids, so you know what I'm saying? And I would be one of them, but because I grew up in that era. But, he said that's what he's been doing, and he's been doing a better job at it than the parents that are there in the crowd. And how Cena said he's going to, as he said before, reiterating that statement that he's going to ruin wrestling. And Randy Orton was like, my family, you hear that badass open to Cody Rhodes' music when he says wrestling has more than one family. He's also talking about, he's not just talking about his family, he's talking about my family, who, we know Randy Orton is a third generation superstar, you know what I'm saying, from his grandfather, I think Bob Orton Sr. and Cowboy Bob Orton is his dad, and then, Randy Orton himself. And then, yeah, so he's saying, like, he's doing it, he's talking about my family as well, and you can't just, basically, that, championship means a lot, what I'm saying, is, he was, this business has fed him, has fed his kids, and, the WWE, and all that type of stuff like that has basically, provided him the life he gets to live and has provided him a living. So, boom. Cena then was like telling him, like, basically that all that legacy that your family built up, you included, is gonna be erased because there'll be another champion, but I'll be the last real champion because they'll make some toy belt for everybody that comes after me after I take this home with me. And boom, so he was like saying he was the last real champion, and his name is John Cena, you know what I'm saying? And then he threw the title at Randy Orton as a distraction so that he could start going after him. And he was freaking going stupid, punching him and kicking him down on the ropes. And then he got off of him for a second. And then I think he went for something. And Randy Orton ended up catching him in an RKO. So he got RKO'd again, did John Cena. And Randy Orton's, he's fired up. He's freaking shaking the ropes and stuff like that. And, he comes out there, takes the shirt off, holds up the WWE Championship. Not only is he in great shape, but he does look good with that WWE Championship. But I don't think he's going to be winning it, man. Obviously, John Cena and Randy Orton, two GOATs, that would, I guess you could say, be my Rock and Stone Cold as far as, like, when the two top guys I grew up on, you know what I'm saying? Unless you want to go CM Punk. The two top guys when I was getting up there was John Cena and Randy Orton. So, yeah. So it's really cool for me, especially since I grew up on that. As a kid, so dope to see it, man. And the match should be fantastic, man. They've had a lot of matches, you know what I'm saying? Is it going to be as good as their past matches as they've had before? Maybe not, they're obviously older, but still waiting, or still can't wait to see the match, you know what I'm saying? It should be great, and obviously it's going to be nostalgic, like I said, for people like me who grew up in that late 2000s, early 2010s era, you know what I'm saying? So it's going to be fun. It's going to be great. And they have told a great story of, Cena erasing Randy Orton's legacy and his family that have come before him and stuff like that. So great segment, as we predicted it would, as we thought it would be. Another notable moment, because I don't think I'm going to say everything from the show, but another notable moment was indeed Tiffany Stratton was basically saying that she's, retained over Charlotte Flair, and how, she's not going to be the next Charlotte Flair. She's the one known as Tiffany Stratton, which brings out Jade Cargill. And she says that she's going to reinstate her mission statement here in the WWE, and that's to be a world champion. So she basically was asking Tiffany to put that title on that line, you know what I'm saying? And they had a pretty nice match. I was surprised it even took place, but they had a nice match, which we knew had to end in some type of way, and it did end by DQ by Naomi still attacking Jade as their story is still going on. And the way Naomi was throwing them punches was kind of wild. Like, she was like throwing them, and then she just started going like this, and I was like, I don't know what Naomi was doing, but it was hilarious. And then she threw Jade into the ring post a couple of times, you know what I'm saying? Which unfortunately brought out Nia Jax. After Jade and Naomi, fought and got out of the ring, it then brought out Nia Jax to take out Tiffany Stratton. I think she may have hit her finisher on her at the end of it, and then, she stood tall or whatever. And I guess they've had a match, I think, but I guess Tiffany still hasn't beaten her, which I didn't even know that. I think that's what the story is here, that she, that's obviously they had a little, partnership at one point, and then it broke up when she, became after she cashed in the Money in the Bank briefcase. So, yeah, they're going back to this. I'm just not interested in it. I do think Nia Jax is better than than her first initial run in WWE. I think she's grown, but at the same time, I'm like, if I'm being fair and honest with myself, I can't say I'm interested in this. But, at this point, it's almost like when in doubt, get Nia Jax. It's like, I feel like because Bianca, which I'll just address that now, she said she has some, I think she had a broken finger, which I've had too. I've had that before. Or it was like, it wasn't a full break, it was like a fracture. But anyway, she has some, I guess, either a broken finger or broken fingers, which is even crazy if it's multiple. And she's going to be gone for a little minute after that great match and great WrestleMania, one of the greatest WrestleMania opens of all time that they had with her, Rhea, and Io at WrestleMania 41. So, she said she was going to be out. Unfortunately, it sucks. I feel like she's the best female wrestler right now, you know what I'm saying? So it does suck to see that she can't be there, because that would have been a great feud if they would have turned turned Bianca heel, or like we saw maybe just as time went on teases of that and getting to a her versus Tiffany feud. I think that would have been great matches, obviously, because they're both great athletes, but unfortunately she's gonna be out. So brings me back to saying that probably leads me to think, other than Naomi, who's just been a heel recently, I guess they didn't really have any other competition there for Tiffany Stratton. They decided not to run it back with Charlotte, which was a yeesh match at WrestleMania. But that's what we're going to be getting. Don't know how many of you are interested in it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they can sell me on it, but off initial first thing, I'm not I'm not necessarily reaching to get my wallet on this one. But anyway, to pay to see this match. But anyway, then I think the next thing that happened, I'll just get the short stuff out of the way. Okay, there was Malachi Black, or used to be Malachi Black. Aleister Black went back to his old name, went back to his own theme song, and he interrupted The Miz after The Miz was basically saying that he hated, or he's sick and tired. Actually, he usually does, with these type of promos, the complaining promos. Any day Miz is complaining on the microphone is probably going to be a good promo. But anyway, he was saying, that what does he have to do around here to get a match on WrestleMania, because it's crazy how Rey Mysterio was out injured and they call up Rey Fenix, who's only been here for 2 weeks, and not me, who's been here for 20 years. So what do I got to do? I got to put a mask on my, face and call myself Rey? Is that what I need to get a match on WrestleMania? Like, this is coming from the guy who beat John Cena in the main event of WrestleMania, which was WrestleMania 27, which to a lot of people was like the worst WrestleMania. But nonetheless, he was like, I beat John Cena and retained my WWE Championship in the main event of WrestleMania. That's something Cody couldn't do, which I ain't gonna lie, that's it. He's not lying, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, that brought out Aleister Black, old theme, old entrance, old name. And he came out there, and as Miz was about to say, as he got in the ring, the crowd said, "Welcome back." They gave him a nice cheer. So it was good to see that they remembered him. And as Miz was about to say something, as he was walking towards him, he got hit with that black mask, that spinning heel kick, you know what I'm saying? Knocked him out cold. And that's how we went off with that segment. Then, this is a little bit out of order because I think that was later. But we then got, or earlier in the show as well, Fraxium, Nathan Frazier and Axiom made their tag team debut. They had a nice match against Los Lotharios or Los Garzas or whatever their name is. They had a nice match there. It's just another thing that happened on the show. As I'm trying to remember. Then Jacob Fatu, the new United States champion, comes out there with Solo, and Solo's basically taking all the credit, saying, "I'm the one who brought Jacob in. I'm the one who, saw his potential in this company, was scared to bring him in and stuff like that. Like, I'm the reason why he's U.S. champion." Basically making it seem like he's responsible for Jacob being here and responsible for all his success. And Jacob got in on the mic and said, "I told you, get in where you fit in, and I'm all gas. And the crowd actually said no breaks because they've heard him say that before. So it was good to know that the crowd not only was chanting Fatu and gave him a nice reaction when his music hit, and were chanting Fatu, like I said, throughout this thing. And he was hitting all gas, no breaks, and you know what I'm saying, the yada I mean, you know what I'm saying. And he did that on the microphone, and that brought out LA Knight, who wanted his rematch. I thought it was going to move LA Knight to the main event, but I guess they're trying to kind of pack up the mid-card scene, which they've done well with that, so I got to give them credit there. But LA Knight comes out there, and he says how he wants the U.S. title back, and how he wants his rematch and stuff like that. And Drew comes out. I was surprised that Drew McIntyre comes out and said, Randy Orton, of course, jumped the line, so I'm going to have to, fight basically the baddest champion right now on Smackdown, that being Jacob Fatu. And then LA Knight was like, he was like yawning and going, y'all let me know when this mush mouth is done talking, basically. And Drew McIntyre was basically saying, after that, Drew was like, basically saying to LA Knight that, like, you talking and all this stuff like that, but yet, what he said, it was like something about, basically he was making fun of the fact that he had a short title reign. I forgot the line, but it was like, what would it, I'm trying to think of the line he said. It was like, I don't know what it was that he said, but I forgot the line. But basically, he was pointing out the fact that he had a short title reign, and stuff like that. So I just forgot the line he said, but basically saying that he, basically is saying you don't want to talk, but yet you had like a short title reign and stuff like that. Because he did technically with the second run as the U.S. champion, had a short title reign, losing it to Jacob. And then LA Knight said, I would bring up your title reign, but I can't remember it because it only lasted like 5 minutes. So that was a nice line. I ain't gonna lie. That did make me want to see a LA Knight and Drew McIntyre feud. But basically, LA Knight was saying that if you're going to run your mouth, basically handle business in the ring. And Drew was like, okay. And then got in the ring. Nick Aldis comes out there and makes the match official. Drew McIntyre versus LA Knight for the number one contender for the U.S. title. And they fought for a little minute, did LA Knight and Drew. And eventually the match, and they had a nice little match. And eventually it ended with Damian Priest coming out there, taking Drew up out of there. And so technically Drew won the match. And, he threw Drew into the barricade and put him through an announce table. And LA Knight was arguing with Damian Priest because he just costed him his number one contenders match for the U.S. title. He's arguing and stuff like that. And then Jacob comes freaking flying through the ropes and takes out Damian Priest and LA Knight. And then he hits moonsaults, threw them both back in the ring, hits moonsaults on both of them. And, the crowd's chanting Fatu. So he's freaking over, even though he's technically a heel. They're chanting the name. The guy's over. They know how good he is, how dangerous he is, So he's freaking doing great, is Jacob. And I hope this U.S. title run lasts a while. Some people said this may lead to a fatal four-way. I would love these feuds to be separate because I think all of these feuds separately would be pretty cool. But, I can see them doing a fatal four-way. But either way, it should be good. Good stuff. But I would just prefer separate feuds so that we have different, rivalries we could talk about that happened through this title reign. But they're going to do how they do. You know what I'm saying? And anyway, at the end of the show, as far as the last notable thing on the show, was the main event TLC match between Montez Ford, who had his goddamn HBK outfit on, but he was, Montez Ford, Angelo Dawkins, the Street Profits versus Motor City Machine Guns versus DIY. And I think this is the first match we've seen with Ciampa without the beard. You know what I'm saying? So that was interesting. But yeah, I can't even call this move for move. The only spots I can remember, like off the top of my head, obviously Montez did a spot where he did the leaping over the top rope, where he did a little front flip. He did that through a table. So he leaped outside of the ring, did the little front flip, and it went through a table. And then the most notable one obviously was Angelo Dawkins going from the top of the ladder as Tommaso Ciampa was holding on to the, had no ladder underneath him, was holding on to the belts. And when he turned around, as he's like floating in the air, spinning around, as he turned around, Dawkins, boom, hits him with a spear, and they both go through a table. That was a freaking great spot. Motor City Machine Guns did their Skull and Bones, where he has them in like a neck breaker position, and the guy does like a little, essentially like I guess you could say a high cross body or a splash onto the guy, and they did that through a table to, I think it was Gargano maybe. And yeah, so they were just killing it in this match. And Montez also had somebody's prosthetic leg. Somebody gave him their prosthetic leg, and Montez beat Gargano over the back of the head with it. So that was freaking great. And it ended up being the Street Profits. Thank God, because they shouldn't lose it that quick. Retaining the WWE Tag Team Championships, and that's how we went off the air. And it was, like I said, you got to watch all this for yourself. But this SmackDown was great. Great match they had, that TLC match they had in the main event between all these three, good tag teams, great tag teams even. And they no doubt proved that, hey, we should have been on WrestleMania, especially over New Day versus War Raiders, which was a very forgettable and not that long of a match. So, Street Profits, MCMG, DIY, all of them said, yeah, you should have put us on WrestleMania, because that was a match of the year contender match. That they had a match of the year contender tag match they had, like, it was that freaking good. So imagine if this would have been on WrestleMania, you know what I'm saying? So now this will always be known as a Smackdown off the WrestleMania match, which sucks because it's easy, like when matches like that to that greatness happen, you would want to be like, oh yeah, bro, I remember WrestleMania 40. Like, it's easy to quote it, right? WrestleMania 41 TLC match, one of the best matches. And if you think about it, that kind of would be like the WrestleMania 17 match with the Hardys, Edge and Christian, and the Dudley Boys, how legendary that match was. It could have been that generation's version of that. You know what I'm saying? If they would have had it take place at WrestleMania night one instead of instead of New Day and War Raiders. But beggars can't be choosers. It was a great match. I feel like a lot of us thought it would, but just wish it would have happened at WrestleMania, which like I said, beggars can't be choosers. We ended up getting a great match. The only thing it has to it is that it was after WrestleMania, you know what I'm saying? But that's how life goes sometimes. But anyway, at the end of the day, what can I say? It is what it is, and what it's going to be is this project continue to come out with the content videos, bangers over and over again for you guys. Follow all the socials that you see down below, you know what I'm saying, because we're going to keep doing our thing and doing it well. Y'all let me know down below in the comments what y'all rated this SmackDown. I could give that a 9 out of 10 or maybe 8.5 or 9 out of 10, man, because there was really not many, if any, dull moments. So I would kind of give that SmackDown a 9 out of 10. I think Raw slightly took the edge there, but they both did freaking fantastic, man. But I love and appreciate you guys. We're going to keep doing our thing, and we're going to keep on grinding until we get to the top, and it's just going to get better from there, man. But love and appreciate you guys. That is the vibe that DJ's on.